Hello there and welcome back to my channel, and if you've been following me for a while you'll know that last month I was working with the Forest of Enchantment tarot, and I enjoyed using that deck so much that it has fast become my favourite deck of 2025, and I thought I would do a walkthrough with this deck to share with you what I love about it. And so if you're new and you'd like to know a little bit more about this deck, then do stick around because I'll let you know everything you need to know about this deck, from what's in the box, the book and all of that good stuff. So let's have a look. Now, before we get started, do comment below if you use this deck and share your experiences so people new to the deck can see what they can expect to find from it. Many of the major cards have different names. So the White Heart is the Fool, the Magician has become the Enchanter, the High Priestess is now the Wise Woman, and the Empress is the Green Mother. The Emperor has become the Forest Lord. The Oldest One replaces the Hierophant. The Lovers remains the same. The Chariot has become the Fairy Wind. Strength has also stayed the same name, as has the Hermit. And the Wheel of Fortune has become the Enchanter's Wheel. The Huntsman has become the Justice card. Suspension replaces the Hanged Man. Death has become the Black Shook. Temperance is now the Forge, and the Liar replaces the Devil. The Tower has become the Folly. The Star is Starlight. And the Moon is Moonlight. And of course the Sun is now Starlight. Judgment has become the Council of Animals. And the world is now called the Wide World. So here we have the suit of Visions, which traditionally is the suit of Cups in Rider-Waite-Smith. This is the suit of water, emotion, desire, love, spiritual understanding, intuition and dreams. And for the deck as a whole, we are told on the back of the box that once you step into the enchanted forest, your life and your spirit will never be the same. The woods are alive with magic, wise ancient trees, glowing blossoms, crystal caves, and forbidding thickets of thorn. Here you will meet witches and wizards, fairies and elves, birds and beasts, both earthly and otherworldly, ghosts and shapeshifters, dancing princesses and sad old knights. In the Forest of Enchantment, you may seek your fortune, quest for success, and live happily ever after. The suit of challenges here represents the suit of swords in Rider-Waite-Smith. This is the suit of air: conflict, strategy, intelligence, mental agility, survival. The introduction of the book tells us that the forest is part of the human psyche, from fairy tales and folklore to Arthurian legend and Tolkien. In popular modern books, TV shows and movies, the forest is where the enchantment is found. As Sarah Maitland writes in her book, From the Forest, A Search for the Hidden Roots of Fairy Tales, the forest is the place of trial in fairy stories, both dangerous and exciting. Coming to terms with the forest, surviving its terrors, utilising its gifts, and gaining its help is the way to happy ever after. The traditional suit of Pentacles has been transformed into the suit of Boons. This is the suit of earth: practical matters, prosperity, protection, healing, general well-being. The Forest of Enchantment Tarot draws inspiration from many forest tales, but without direct reference to particular stories. You can make your own associations with the cards without having to adhere to any single storyline. If the Wizard in Suspension card reminds you of Merlin, then that's who he is. If, on the other hand, he reminds you of Luke Skywalker, then that's also true. Additionally, you will discover insightful, bite-sized bits of lore so you can go deeper into the symbols and connect to the stories within the cards. The timeless wisdom of tarot integrates your fate with the powerful source of magic that weaves the fabric of destiny. Moving on to the suit of spells, traditionally the suit of wands. This suit is the suit of fire: action, will, confidence, transformation, courage and charisma. The book continues to tell us that a myriad of characters and creatures dwell in the forest, but for most humans in these tales, it is a place you pass through to get somewhere else. You can't see very far ahead in the forest, as you can in the open landscape or on the sea. Things may change quickly, for good or ill. You may find what you seek, or you may not even know what you seek until you find it. The Forest of Enchantment is welcoming and forbidding, beautiful and bewildering. It is where you can seek your fortune or your own true nature, a place of delight and a place of grim despair. Follow the white heart and begin your adventure. The Forest of Enchantment Tarot by Lunaea, Weatherstone and illustrated by Meraylah, Allwood has been published by Llewellyn. It comes in a sturdy wraparound clamshell box with quite a strong magnet. So this is the front of the design. This is the Judgment card, I believe. And we have a nice banner on the side here with some examples of cards and a few more examples of cards on the back and a little bit about the deck. Same on the other side. When I got this, it was slightly damaged, but I couldn't be bothered to send it back, and I did in fact glue this down, but a subsequent fall off the shelf meant that this paper kind of reopened. It is what it is. The print is quite glossy. You can see quite a big sheen there. It is quite a big box, so when compared to a standard oracle box, you can see it's quite big, or a tarot deck, and that does take up quite a lot of space on the shelf. And I think I've mentioned in previous videos that I often take the cards out, put the book to the side, and I put the cards in a little tarot bag. I do typically keep my decks in their boxes, and that's more for practical reasons. Inside you get this beautiful colour book, which we'll look at in a moment, and a nice ribbon to lift the book out, and then it wraps around the cards and they lift out quite nicely. There is no message or anything on the side here, but there is a detail in the little space for the cards. This is the design for the Ace of Visions, and then we'll just pop that to one side. So let's have a little look at the book first. Again, it's quite glossy, but it is a beautiful colour book, and for each card you get this full page colour picture, and I'd say this book is about A5, maybe a little bit bigger, and this goes right throughout the book. So in the book then we have some more examples of the cards. There is a little bit more about the deck and the creators, and this nice spread here, your path through the magic forest. And so the idea with this deck is that you are led through a magical forest as the White Hart, in the hope that you will emerge as this experienced stag who is ready to face the world. And that's one of the reasons I like this deck, just the storytelling behind this deck. Then we've got our printing information, dedications, and the contents. The introduction here just goes a little bit deeper into the concept of the deck. And it is a Rider-Waite-Smith based deck. However, you will have noticed through the flip through that they have changed the bulk of the names, which I mentioned in the flip through, but it's there for you to refer to. The other changes are, of course, the suits. So just to remind you, wands have become the spells, cups are the visions, swords are the challenges, and pentacles are the boons. So I didn't really know what boon meant, but it's kind of like a lucky charm, I guess. So those things that you're going to find along the way just to help with your progress through the forest. So I guess if you think like a computer game, like, I don't know, Sonic or something, collecting rings, I think it's that kind of idea to help you sort of barter and deal with the forest folk that you're going to meet. And there's some examples of how you can look after your deck and some general tarot questions. This deck does not use reversals, but you are encouraged to use your own interpretation of reversals if that's something that you use in your practice anyway. There's also a section to encourage you to look a little bit closer, because within the cards there are some additional hidden symbols or omens, if you like. A little bit of examples of how you can mix your cards up, and we'll talk about cardstock and shuffling in a moment. So the book has been divided into the major cards, and then this is a little bit different, and I've not seen this in any other book, but they've actually numbered, they've actually grouped all the aces, all the twos together. So rather than having the whole suit then going on to the next suit, they have a summary of the energy for each of the numbers. So what the energy of an ace is, what the energy of a two is, so on and so forth. Sometimes it just gives you general information about a number, or sometimes they will actually say what that number means. So for instance, the 3 of spells, which is the 3 of wands, activate your magic, or the 3 of visions, find your kindred spirit. And as I said, you have a beautiful full-size image to really allow you to look at the details in the cards, and then there's a really nice description which is all told through this storytelling, this idea of being in a fairy tale forest and what the message of that card is, and there is sort of some keywords and the closer look of what you need to be looking out for in a more detailed, in-depth way. I should also say, whilst I'm in the ace section, is that each ace is represented by a different animal. So we have the wyvern for our wands with that fiery energy, a swan for visions, which is cups and obviously our emotions, a raven, for a white raven for challenges, which is the sword suit, so kind of thoughts, ideas, gathering information as ravens do, and then the toad for the boons, which is our pentacles suits. The court cards have been replaced by the forest folk. So traditionally the court cards would have a royal hierarchy. In the case of the Enchanted Forest, that is not the case, but they have been replaced with different names, such as the Child for the Page, Seeker for the Knight, Weaver for the Queen, and Keeper for the King. And they all bring different energies to the deck. They've also noted that there is a mixture of genders for all of the Forest Folk cards, and so we're looking at energies as opposed to an actual gender. And at the back of the book, they have provided us with several spreads for us to try. So your typical daily card spread, and then I particularly like this one, the White Heart spread, which I've spoken about before, where you basically take your Fool and your World card as significator cards and use them to draw guidance upon the likely outcome of your day and the metaphorical forest, to see how your day might pan out. And then there's some other really nice spreads which I've not seen in other decks before, for you to experiment with. I particularly like the Owl's Advice spread. I have an example reading of that, which I'll pop a link to. And then you have the Council of Animals, which is kind of based on your judgment card, where you can ask each of the animals some guidance on any situation that you're inquiring about. All in all, I think this is a really beautiful book. And I forgot to mention that they have left space at the back for you to use as a journal and to write notes. Although personally, I'm not very good at writing in pre-printed books, and also, as mentioned, the paper is quite shiny, and I'm not sure kind of how practical it would be to write in anywhere. Anyway, but that's there for those people that would find that useful. On the back of the book, there's a little bit more information about using this deck. This is slightly different information to what they've provided you on the back of the box. Moving on to the cards then. So these are a standard tarot size, and it is quite thin, flimsy card stock. This is the only Llewellyn deck I have, so I don't know if this applies to all Llewellyn decks, but I don't know if you can see that. It has started to chip quite easily, and also, like the book, it is quite shiny, it is quite reflective, although I don't think it's as shiny as some of the other cards I've seen. In terms of shuffling, now some of you will know I don't really do riffle shuffling, so I'm not going to try and demonstrate, but there is quite a lot of flex there, so I suspect this deck would work for riffle shuffling. The backs have this lovely mirrored owl design, so even though they don't include reversals, the backs have been designed to allow you to use reversals if that is relevant to your practice. But for hand over hand shuffling, yeah, they work really, really well. There's enough sheen to help them glide quite nicely, but the only thing to be aware of is if you do catch them, they might start to chip around the edges, and there are a couple of cards in here that have certainly started to show a little bit of wear and tear. So for me, this is a really nice reader, and it's become one of my go-to decks. Now, the cards that I'm going through at the moment are cards that have cropped up for me time and time again when I've used this deck. Interestingly, a lot of the Forest folk cards, all to do with finding magic, but Seeker of Challenges does crop up quite a lot as well. And yeah, I just find there's something about this deck really helps me to, I guess, feel less threatened about situations. And I don't know whether it's because there's quite a lot of animals in this deck. I do like animal decks, but you know, there's something so calming and kind of non-judgmental about the expressions on the animals' faces, which I guess helps me to explore maybe some of the more challenging issues that crop up with using this deck. And yeah, there's something very warm and inviting about this deck as well, which I think also makes it feel quite comforting. There's a lot of this kind of warm glow in the background, or just this calming blue, which you get a lot in the Cups or Visions suit. And yeah, it's just very kind of comforting, and I think, yeah, this is definitely a comfort deck for me. I mean, look at that for the Six of Boons, which is the Six of Pentacles, just having a little snuggle with all those bunnies. Yeah, and it's just, you know, even the people have really just calm and non-judgmental kind of expressions, and yeah, which all helps to evolve this, which all help to contribute to this kind of feeling of comfort and safety. There's a lot of wise beings here as well. You know, people kind of knuckling down and just working on their inner magic. And even, you know, the challenging cards still have this feeling of hope and kind of warmth to them. So, you know, even though these people out here for the Five of Boons, the Five of Pentacles, there's this warm glow not that far in the distance, and, you know, if they just turn around, safety and warmth can be theirs very, very quickly. And even the Death card, the Black Shook, he's got wisdom there that he needs to tell you. And, you know, I see this mist here, and it's almost like, you know, you're in this rubbish situation at the moment, but just follow me through the mist and we'll find a way out of this for you to transition to something new. As is the Folly card. You know, for the Tower, yes, this tree is breaking apart. Perhaps it was struck by lightning as the traditional tower. And yes, the birds are flocking, but actually look, there's still a lot left here. All is not lost. And there's also something quite charming about the Liar, which is the Devil card. It's like he's got a secret to tell you, and actually maybe it's not as bad as you think. Maybe the secret he's going to tell us is actually you have what it takes to break free of this thing that, you know, you're battling with. So yeah, I've really enjoyed reconnecting with this deck this time round again this year. So I've mentioned before that this is very much a spring and summer deck for me, and I think there's because there's a lot of greenery, and some of you will know that I've been pairing it with the Celtic Spirit Oracle by Nicola McIntosh, and yeah, these have worked so well together, really complementing themes that have been cropping up. But I think you could pair this with possibly any of the Season of the Witch decks, simply because this one, even though it's a fairy tale deck, there is a lot of options to kind of explore and expand upon, you know, evolving your inner magic to help you work your way through situations. So I've just pulled a few Season of the Witch decks to look out, and I'm just wondering if the Ostara deck would work. Yeah, so we've got a similar theme of colours going here. And so next year I would definitely contemplate using this deck, maybe with some of the Season of the Witch decks. Oops. And looking at the Beltane deck, I mean, there are quite a few similarities between the Celtic Spirit and the Beltane deck anyway. But yeah, these are pairing or grouping visually very nicely together. I didn't actually think about using these as a trio. And then with the Letha deck then, I think would probably bring a different energy again. But yeah, I'm quite liking how these work together as well. So yeah, definitely be exploring that a little bit more next year. I'm not actually using this deck at the moment because I'm using some of my Lisa McLaughlin decks during June. but I am working with the Letha deck now that we've passed the summer solstice. So, I'm thinking maybe I need to get this deck back out. But what do you pair this deck with? Do drop a comment below. Now, I'm also hoping that this deck here, the Universal Folk Tarot, will pair nicely with this deck as well. I'm yet to open this. I'm not allowed to open this until I've finished designing my tarot deck. But when that happens, I'm definitely going to explore these two together as well. And I will share what I find with you. Thank you so much for joining me today. As always, I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch my video and sharing your thoughts about the decks that I look at. If you enjoyed this walkthrough today, then do consider giving it a like. And if you'd like to see more tarot related content as well as oracle decks, and I also dive into the art behind the tarot as well, then I'd love it if you subscribe to my channel. However, until the next video, I'm Sally. This is my channel, Vaudeville Manor, House of Art and Tarot. And until the next video, here are some other videos you can watch in the meantime. Bye bye.